Hello, my name is Drew Pickens, and in this video, we are going to discuss a sales and buying concept called tipping the scales. And we're going to use this whiteboard with a scale drawn on it as our illustration today. There's one thing that causes buyers to not commit to making a purchase, and it's this idea, this metaphor, is that there's a set of scales in a buyer's mind. And what the scales are weighing is the cost of making a change versus the cost of staying the same and not changing. And in most buyers' mind, it looks as if the cost of making a change, the cost associated with changing something in their business, maybe switching to a new vendor or putting in a new software program or training for their team or something, looks like it costs a lot, right? There's a cost to a business making a change and implementing a change. And this is what tends to be in a business leader's head. And they look at the cost of staying the same or the cost of doing nothing as not being as great or not weighing as much as the cost associated with making a change. And as long as a decision maker is looking at any type of a change in this way, it's almost impossible for a sale to take place successfully. So here's the strategy that a salesperson would want to implement in this case. Knowing that the business is looking at the cost of change as being very great and the cost of doing nothing not being that much, the salesperson should try and put as much into this side of the scale as possible so that this starts to weigh a lot in the buyer's mind. There might be something that doesn't cost a lot today, but if it changes next month, it costs again, and the month after that, and the month after that, and the year after that, to the point where this thing now starts to weigh a lot. And the cost of a one-time change, changing a provider, changing a vendor, installing something, doesn't weigh that much. And the scales then begin to tip. Without putting everything you possibly can into this side of the scale, you're generally going to be outweighed. What you're offering just looks like it's just too much of a problem for the customer. So you want to put as much in this side as you can, amplify what the cost is of doing nothing and showing that as a large impact over the long run. And so the small cost of one initial change doesn't weigh that much, and the scales then begin to tip. And when the scales tip, that's when the buyer begins to see that it is actually worth it to do something. It's more of an impact to do nothing and stay the same. So think about putting as much as you can into the scales to cause the scales to tip.